Today's Spider-Man is going to have to work with Norman Osborn. In a recent storyline, Norman Osborn has been rid of the demon known as the Green Goblin. To do this, he was cleared of all of his sins by the Sin Eater, clearing his conscience. But it's still something that he's struggling with, and he's trying to make amends with Peter Parker. So when we last left off, Peter had received a call from Norman to come to Oscorp to have a look around. At the same time, him and MJ are currently split apart, and we don't know why. It's the big mystery of the series. Today we're going to be covering Amazing Spider-Man issues 7 and 8. And you found yourself at the Comicstorian channel, where I take some of your favorite comic books, I break them down into audio dramas, and I read them back to you dramatically. This allows you to know what's going on in the world of comics, so you know what to add to your collection. And if you enjoy this, don't forget to check out our newest sponsor, Gamersupps. Get 10% off of your order using the code COMICS at checkout, and make sure you check out their waifu cups. That's right, I said waifu cups. They're our new sponsor. With everything going on in Peter Parker's life, he's had a rough 6 months. Not able to pay debts, burning bridges with most of his friends, and learning that MJ has officially moved on without him. But as of late, he is slowly beginning to bounce back. He stopped a gang war from happening and actually freed the original Sinister Six from a new model of the living brain. This is why he recently decided to hear out Norman Osborn about an offer to join Oscorp. After welcoming him to the facility, Norman wastes no time telling Peter that he'd like to offer him a position on a new project that he has been working on. This department will be focusing on finding altruistic uses for his engineering proficiencies, and given his background in unique aerodynamics, aviation seemed like a good place to start. Peter looks at the engineers working and asks if that's an electric plasma jet engine. And just as Norman tells him yes, one of the scientists stops asking if that's Peter Parker. The woman tells him that she really is a big fan. Parker Industries was such a fascinating disaster. But as the woman continues to get excited, she drops what she was carrying, stating, "Oh, by the way, my name is Kamala Khan. But don't worry about this, I'll pick it up." He says that it was nice meeting her? And Norman tells him to forgive his intern. His COO knows her father. But Peter catches up to Norman with another voice calling out to him, and Peter turns to see MJ. Norman says that he'll just let them catch up a bit, but as he leaves, Peter stumbles over his words. I didn't ask Norman to, this isn't... But MJ says that she knows. Peter then asks if she wants to, but before he could finish, she tells him no. She's here because she's working as a brand ambassador for their new Krakoan pharmaceuticals and wanted Norman to take a look at them to make sure that they're safe. Peter says that it's really great to hear, but he apologizes with how he's been acting lately. It wasn't fair to her, and he understands why she stepped away, and it won't happen again. MJ tells him thank you, but as she begins to say something else, her husband, Paul, walks up asking if everything's okay. MJ tells him yes, she just bumped into Peter is all, and Paul turns to shake Peter's hand, telling him that he's looking a lot better. Considering their last encounter with Paul trying to hit him, Peter says, yeah. MJ then says that they should probably get back to the kids now, and Paul says that they probably should, but hey, they should do dinner sometime. Peter tells him, yeah, they should. Peter grits his teeth and storms into Norman's office, asking him if this is him trying to pull something, offering him a job, Mary Jane. Are you trying to get in my head again, Norman? But Norman stops him. I made a mistake. I wasn't thinking. I promise this visit is not about MJ. I just wanted to show you something that I've been working on. Maybe it could be something that we could work on together. So Norman gets ready to show the project, but Peter says, coming here was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. You are one of my greatest enemies, and I get it. Sin Eater removed all of your guilt and desperation, but you're still Norman Osborn. And I was desperate. I needed help. And now I don't. But before revealing the new Spider-Man suit that he had been working on, Norman says that he never said that he did. He never said that he needed to help Peter. Later, Peter is swinging through the buildings trying to clear his head when suddenly his spider sense begins to ring off in his head as Vulture comes crashing into him. Peter begins to fall, and as he tries to web him up, Vulture swoops in, hitting him again, slashing him across the face. But before Peter could collect himself, Vulture grabs him. She was the only love that I had, and you took her away from me. Do you understand what you did? Peter begins to flail, trying to understand what is even going on as Vulture is taking him higher and higher into the sky. He breaks both of Peter's web shooters and tells him, "You told her that I am a murderer, so I'll show you a murderer." And he drops Peter from the highest point that he can reach. But before panic could set in, Peter remembers that his belt still has extra web cartridges, and they're pressurized. So he throws them down as he hits the trees in Central Park, breaking open the containers, spraying enough web in front of him to lessen the fall, before landing directly on his head. He lets out a sigh of relief. But before he could even realize what's going on, Vulture swoops back in. "You told you that I'm a murderer!" And Peter, as he's lifted back up, begins to tell him, "Aren't you currently doing just that?" Vulture responds, simply yelling, "Shut up!" They pass by a few buildings, and Vulture lets Spider-Man go, sending him crashing into a brick wall, giving Peter a chance to recover. He then grabs his phone. "Norman, I'm in trouble. I need you to send that new Spider-Man suit." Norman tells him, "Send? How? There's no way for me to do that, or even for me to track you. That was our agreement, Peter." "I don't care what the agreement was. I need the suit, or I'm going to be killed. Give it to me." Norman says, I can't do that," as calmly as possible. And Peter tells him that this one's gonna be bad. "Vulture's out for blood and I can't fight him. Do you hear? Norman, I'm going to die." Norman says that he's afraid that he can't help. "Good luck, Peter." And as he hangs up, he crushes the phone, slamming it on his desk. Back with Peter, he attempts to get some distance between him and Vulture. But being able to fly, Vulture dips down, grabbing him once more in an attempt to throw him into the sky. This time, Peter struggles, trying to climb up onto the Vulture's wings, and once he's on his back, he begins to steer him. Vulture begins to shake him off, demanding to know what he's doing, but after Peter sends him a few blocks, he sees Osborn's building in front of him. They come crashing headfirst through a window, and as Vulture begins to come to his senses, he sees Spider-Man is already gone. As he begins to look around, demanding to know why he's fleeing, why he's running from his inevitable demise, he hears a crack of the glass behind him, and Peter comes bursting in wearing the new suit, riding a spider glider. He delivers a punch, whipping back around on the glider. Okay, I see why you guys use this thing. Flying is awesome! Almost feels like I'm cheating. But this, on the other hand, is totally cheating. He throws a small round canister, and as it hits Vulture, hundreds of miniature robotic spiders begin to crawl out, covering his face. He flails about in the air, shouting to get them off. But Peter jumps onto his back again, and the glider rockets over, attaching itself to his back. Using the engine from the glider, Peter begins to steer the Vulture into a brick wall, hopping off onto a ledge. Hey, there's one more thing this suit can do. Check it out. And the face on the suit turns into a smiley face. Oh, you're asleep. You didn't see my funny joke. Darn. So later, as Peter returns to Oscorp, he calls out to Norman, asking if this is what he wanted. Is it? I almost died. Norman laughs for a moment. What I wanted was to put on the suit, glide to your location, and save you. Maybe in some way atone for what I've done and atone to those that I have loved. That would have been nice. Why didn't you, Norman? Because I'm him. If I were to get on a glider again, I may not have gotten off of it. The Sin Eater took my sins away, but I don't know exactly what that means. I choose to believe that it means I have a second chance, but I don't want to put that at risk, not for anybody. What I do want is you here at Oscorp. It's not a trap. Maybe you could help keep me off that road that leads back to the demon. Or maybe I'm just being silly. Peter stops him. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I believe you. Also, the electric plasma jet engine that you've been working on looked pretty cool, so if the job is still available, Norman stops him. You're hired! And that sets up the current direction of the new Amazing Spider-Man. Now, I am actually really enjoying this. The idea that we're getting a different direction for Spider-Man, but he's still down on his luck Parker, kind of actually excites me. He's going to work with Oscorp. We're going to figure out what's going on with Mary Jane. For those who are wondering, they still haven't revealed it, and in my opinion, that's fine as long as the big reveal is going to be worth it. Because if this reveal turns out to be garbage and we get it in 50 issues, then I'm going to be very disappointed that they kept the secret from us. Anyway, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let me know what you think of this new Peter Parker run. No Mary Jane, no girlfriend, down at his luck Parker, but he's working with Oscorp. What do you guys think about that?